Hello lovies, Jax here. Thank you for joining me at Creations by Jax. This is going to be a quick tutorial on my Hag Stitch arrow scarf. So in the thumbnail you'll see the brown scarf that I did. That was the prototype, and I used ice yarn baby ombre, and I used two 100 gram ball skeins. And for that project I used, let's see, what was it, 57 half double crochet foundation chains. And I believe if you're going to use a chain to begin, that you would use 60 chains, and then you will half double crochet into the fourth chain from the hook, and then double crochet across. I'm sorry, half double crochet across. Sorry, I just finished a project with the double crochet hag stitch, so that's in my brain. But this one is going to be half double crochets. So you want to have an odd number of half double crochets to start off with. And so what I've done here is I have 17 half double crochets. I have put a stitch marker into the very last stitch, and then I've put a stitch marker into the middle stitch. So I have 8 stitches on each side of this stitch marker, because this is going to be our peak. Okay, so let's get started. The beginning and ending of every single row is going to be 3, I call them half double crochets together, but it's kind of a combination of half double crochet and double crochets together, because I'll show you. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to start with a chain 2. That does not count. It's just a builder chain to start our row. So normally a half double crochet together is you just yarn over and you go in and pull up. Yarn over, go in and pull up. I don't like how it looked, so what I did was kind of a combination of a half double crochet and double crochet 3 together. So what I'm gonna do is, because I didn't like how the double crochet together, you don't go into this first stitch, you skip it, and that, you know, gives you your 3 together. But just all the tutorials I found, I didn't like the gap that it made on this scarf. So chain 2, yarn over, go into this very first stitch and start your double crochet and stop. Then yarn over, go to the next stitch, pull through your loop, pull through 2 and stop. We now have 3 loops. Yarn over, go into the next one. That is our third. So you can see 1, 2, 3. Don't count this chain 2, but 1, 2, 3. You can see the stitches. You have 4 loops on your hook and pull through all 4. I just like how it looks really clean, and it doesn't make a huge gap right here. Okay, so I always throw that over my finger. Grab a stitch marker, and then into the very top of this I want to throw a stitch marker just so I know where to end when I come back around. Okay, now we're going to get into the hag stitch. The hag stitch is comprised of 2 stitches. It is a back loop half double and a third loop half double. So what we're going to do is, to get the back loop, kind of turn your work up a little. Let's yarn over to be ready. And you see this little V? We are going to go into the back loop of that and do a half double. Okay, now we're going to go to the next one, and where you would normally go in here when we're crocheting, we're not going to go there. We're going to go right below it, and you can see this little stitch right here. It's the third loop, and it's right in the front. See, there's our V, and then right here in the front is our third loop. Okay, so we'll yarn over, go into that third loop, and do a half double. That's the hag stitch. Okay, so flip it up, take your back loop, that's for 3. We're looking for 5 stitches right now. So then here's our third loop. There's 4, and you can see here's my center. I only have 1 left. Okay, so we're going to then end with a back loop, and there's our 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We did 3 together, so there's the 8. So that's how you can keep track to make sure you didn't skip a stitch. Now I'm going to remove my stitch marker, And in this center stitch, or in this one it's the 9th stitch, we are going to put 2 half doubles, 1, oops, 2, and then we're going to chain 2, and then we're going to put 2 more half doubles right into the same stitch. This is going to create our peak. Okay, I'll put that down so you can see. What I'll also do is take this time to take my stitch marker and put it into the chain 2 space. Okay, so you can see it's already trying to start our peak. Okay, so now we're going to mirror what we just did on the other side. So we ended in a back loop, so yarn over, and right after that center stitch we're going to go into the back loop, and we're looking for 5 stitches. So there's 1 into the first front loop, or the 3rd loop, I apologize, 2, back loop for 3, 3rd loop for 4, and then into the back loop for 5. So it mirrors exactly what we did on the up, and now on the down we've done 5. So here we see we've got our stitch marker there, 1, 2, 3. We have 3 stitches left. You see that? 1, 2, 3. So we're going to do 3 together, okay, just like the beginning. So go in, draw up a loop, go in, draw up a loop, oopsie, draw up a loop, and then into this very last one, let's move our stitch marker. You can see sometimes it's hard to see that. That's your like beginning where we, you know, went into the 4th loop from the chain, or chained up 3 to do my foundation. Okay, yarn over, go into the top of that, and I have, and then pull through 2, and I have my 4 loops and pull through all 4. Okay, so there's our, there is our first row. Okay, so now let's chain 2 and turn our work. Okay, we've got our stitch marker ready. Now here we go. See this very first stitch, we are going to go into it, get some yarn here, and pull through 2. I have 2 loops, go into the next one for 2, go into the 3rd one for 3 together. There's our 4 loops, and pull through all 4. I always pop that loop onto my finger to keep it from unraveling, so I can really see. I want to put my stitch marker right into the top of that new stitch. Okay, now let's hag. Now, key, if you've been watching any of my tutorials, landmarks all day long. Okay, so look here, see our little nubby that's sticking out right there in the front? I want to be going into the 3rd loop right before that nubby every time. It's going to cause our hag stitch to give that beautiful diagonal that Ryan was excuse me, the smoke here is so bad. The beautiful diagonal that Ryan had created with this stitch. So here, our very first stitch, we know since we want this one to be a front loop, it's going to be a back loop. So let's start, yarn over, flip our work up, and go with the back loop. Here's our little nubby. Grab your 3rd loop right before it, half double, okay, back loop. And we want to remember, so it's always going to be the same stitch count every time, because we're doing these together, but then in the peak we're adding 2 more stitches. So far I've got 3, and then when we come up on this it gets a little tricky, but I know that I need 2 more stitches. So I have my front loop, and then this one is where it gets tricky. Flip your work up and see that right before the chain 2, we want to grab that back loop. Okay, so you are always going to start with a back loop, and you're always going to end with a back loop to keep, if you get up here and you're like, oh, I'm on a 3rd loop and I don't have any stitches left, you know you missed something. Okay, and now we will go into our peak for 2 doubles. It'll always be 2 half doubles. 2 half doubles, chain 2, 2 half doubles. Let's move our little stitch marker back up here to our chain 2 space and then go down the valley. Okay, there's our nubbly, so we know we got to go in the back loop for 1, 2, back loop for 5, and there's our last 3. Let's move our stitch marker and go 1 and hold, 2 and 3, 4, and then pull through all 4. Okay. And that's all you keep doing. You do your 3 together on the edges, 2 halves, chain 2, 2 halves, and you know in between these are always going to be the same amount of stitches. So if you start with the back loop and end with the back loop, start with the back loop, end with the back loop, every time you'll stay in line. And just keep going, 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 going. Change colors as often as you want. Use variegated yarn, use self-striping yarn, whatever you'd like. And enjoy. Thank you for participating in our Hag Stitch arrow scarf, and this is for you, Ryan. Thank you so much for making such a beautiful stitch. I've so enjoyed making all of the projects. Have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.